I love Darren Williams. Know who else loved Darren Williams? I don't know why, but my brother Jack.
He loved Darren.
Yeah, he'd always be like, know who my favorite player is number 8 on the Utah Jazz. What's going on, people? Welcome back into the Seventh Man Up podcast. I'm your host, Alex Burleson, and you may recognize him. I got my guy, Josh Carson, from a previous episode he was on. What's going on, Josh?
What's happening? No headband this time, man. No headband.
No
Last time I
headband.
was on there with Manny, man. I came from a workout, so, you know, had to keep the headband on and go full Jaime Jaquez, but not today. Not today.
Yeah, it's off season for him right now.
Yeah, I know, right? They went fishing pretty early.
They went fishing early. Yeah, they got cooked by the Cavs.
That's so crazy, dude. I mean, I know you're still doing your intro, and I don't want to take this conversation in a new direction, but after watching the Cavs do that, and then the fact that they lost the way they did in the semis was surprising for sure.
Yeah, just with the Cavs, even with the OKC Thunder, we'll see how that series goes still. But I kind of figured it was going to end like this for the Cavs because a team like that, they're young, so they're on top during the regular season. And then like they're a young team still. The only real vet they have on their team was Allen and Mitchell. All the others are super young guys still like on their rookie contracts.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured they were going to kind of burn out in the playoffs, and they did.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about that is for them, you have upside for the future, right? But they're also in a win now scenario. So they got a lot of questions that are going to be posed their way. I think Mitchell's response was pretty telling too
Yeah.
in that post-game interview where he's just sitting there like, a lot of stuff's going to be written about us, man. He's like, you guys are going to, I don't know if you saw that clip, but he's like, we'll just use it as motivation.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel kind of bad for them too, man, because they had injuries at the worst time of the year. And
Yeah.
I think it's a further proof that, like, playoffs is really about who is both healthy and hot at the same time coming into the postseason and who can maintain that. So
Yeah.
you're
Heck,
seeing
just
it.
look at the Golden State Warriors. What you
Yeah,
just
no.
said is exactly what happened to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Steph Curry with that injury, he missed what, 3 games?
Well, yeah, he went out early in game one, and then they won that. And then he missed the
That's
next
right.
four.
Yeah.
Yeah, he missed the next four, and then they got swept basically in those four. So that's tough. I mean, you can't take away anything from the Wolves, but that's definitely a tough blow, man. You can't lose Steph and expect to beat, especially Minnesota. I mean, they probably wouldn't have beat him with him anyway, but without him, it's virtually impossible. So
Yeah. Draymond always getting into trouble. And then I think this whole season for them, it was really telling how much of a loss it was losing Klay Thompson, even with the drama that took place.
yeah, I always wondered like what their plan with Kaminga is. He's a restricted free agent, and I think obviously he got a good chance to show what he can do more throughout this series. But
Yeah.
he is like, and then obviously you had Jimmy. I think he learned a lot from Jimmy coming in. What they can look at going forward is basically with Jimmy, they were like basically like a top 2 team right behind Oklahoma City in the West. The only problem is, like Chuck said the other night, the wisdom of Charles Barkley, right? Don't we
I
love it?
love
He's like,
Charles.
next year you're a year older. So what are you going to do about that, right? It's tough.
The thing with Charles Barkley, he gets a lot of flack, but I love the dude. His takes are on point,
Yep.
even though he's like goofy and like the rest of the TNT crew clowns him, but he's got some really good takes. He knows what he's talking about, even though it
Yep.
may come off in weird ways. The
Yeah.
Shaq and the banging clip. Did you ever see
Oh,
that
gosh.
clip? Like Charles Barkley is like, man, when you're banging down there, and then they just cut to Shaq, and he's just trying to hold it in.
Yeah. I know. Shaq's like a big kid sometimes on there, man. Oh man, you shake your head. But Barkley, man, the thing about him is they can't, he will not be censored. Like
He
he
will
doesn't,
not be.
he's
Yeah,
not.
that's one thing. Well, I respect a lot of Charles Barkley, but that's one of the many things I respect about him. He doesn't hold back.
Yep, people really appreciate that about him. He's authentic, and then he can speak from experience having played in the league at a very high level,
Exactly.
going against Michael Jordan in the finals and stuff like that, MVP of the league.
Yeah. All these young guys just clowning on Chuck just
Yeah.
because he's, let's just call it, he is fat. But
Is he
like,
taking that fat shot? That is epic.
yeah, but like,
Did he say he was
it's
taking that?
maybe, but like, he's retired now. Let the man be. Like, he did his thing. He knows what he's talking about. And all these young fans now are just clowning him. I'm like, go and watch some Charles Barkley highlights. You'll see how much of a beast he was.
Yep, yep. And the man gets out there every year when they do that celebrity golf tournament in Lake Tahoe, man. He's out there golfing every year.
That's
And
right.
he
Yeah.
just stays at it, even though I think he used to have like a pretty bad hitch in his swing. Like he'd bring the club up and then he'd like pause halfway through and then he'd finish his swing. But I think he's getting a little better at it now. But he still usually finishes near the bottom of the pack. But
Oh
he
man.
still goes out there every year. He's one of the main guys there. So
No hole in one like Steph.
no, Steph's coming back this year though. He's got to defend. He won it 2 years ago and then played in the Olympics last year. So now he's got to defend it this year.
Okay.
That's a fun
Man.
one. That's a fun event.
Yeah, like I'm not a golf guy, but like that hole in one clip was insane.
Yeah, yeah. Who's another one out there? Blake Griffin was out there last year.
Yeah, I forgot he low key is good at golf.
Yeah, he's a main Red Lobster guy now, though. He's a big Red Lobster guy, and he's doing all these different commercials. It's kind of funny. You think he started eating that lobster in Boston when he was there a little bit, or what? He wasn't a Red Lobster guy when he was in LA Clippers, you know?
Maybe, yeah, maybe he was just dipping himself in Cheeto dust.
That seafood, they get on that seafood out there, you know? Yep.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the meat of the podcast with the draft lottery. Man, I'll give my take, but I want to get your take of that draft lottery.
Man, dude. I mean, here's the deal. Look, I can't prove it, but just, LeBron James went on Pat McAfee, I think back in either April or March, whenever the Lakers played at
I
the
think it was
Pacers.
April, early April, I
Yeah.
think.
So the Lakers, they won that game tip in like at the buzzer, but that's besides the point. He basically, like LeBron, I'm surprised LeBron said this because he's very calculated. So I could say whatever I want. A lot of people probably don't know who I am, but they know who LeBron is. So
Yeah.
I'll say this. He basically inferred that it was rigged because if anybody on here is watching this, just go look up the clip. And he basically says like he to paraphrase what he said, he was like, "Okay, I leave and go to Miami and the Cavs get the number one pick." And then he said the Cavs got the number one pick when I was in going into the draft, and then Chicago gets the number one pick for Derrick Rose, and after that he basically says, "Okay, I understand the assignment." And everybody was like, What are you saying?" And he didn't say it, but you can infer, you know? So let's just say that this thing has happened, something like this has happened way too many times for it to be a coincidence. And they can say what they want, but I think they should live televise it. I'm like all for transparency with these things. Like if it's not actually, if we shouldn't live televise it. They used to. You remember they used to, like for the Patrick Ewing one, but they had the envelope. Yeah, they had the ping pong balls thing. Then they had the envelope, is how they started it, I believe. And what they said like Stern knew to pick out the Knicks one because the corner of the
The
envelope
corner, yep.
creased. It
The
was like one of
conspiracy
those.
about them storing the Knicks one in a freezer.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different. So I guess live televising it with envelopes doesn't fix it. But if you just do it as you do it now and you do it live and you let everybody see it, like there's clips out about like there's no way they could rig it because the guy who calls out the number is like in a room facing away from everybody and he's looking down at a 10-second stopwatch and he says every 10 seconds, okay, stop it, pick the numbers. But
Yeah.
I'm like, just televise it. Like if you have
Yeah.
nothing to hide, you might as well just televise it. That would probably be a lot more crazy to watch than just them revealing the
I
tape
think so,
anyway.
yeah. I vaguely remember in my early years of watching the NBA, like even in our lifetime, I think they've done that. They kept doing that for a while. I want to say they did that into the 2000s, I think.
Yeah, I think at this point they had it on TV for a while. You either got to like get rid of the draft lottery, which is probably not going to happen
No, I
because
don't
there's
think
too many
so.
games and like teams could tank. It's different than the NFL. Like the NFL, there's only
Exactly.
16 games, so you just can't go based on worst record. But then if you're going to keep it, man, we're going to need some more transparency because let me just go down the list. Patrick Ewing, Orlando Magic get a franchise, they get Shaq. The Cavs get LeBron number one.
Yeah.
The Bulls get Derrick Rose. LeBron leaves Cleveland, and then Cleveland gets Kyrie number one, and somehow they get number one again, like 2 years or 3 years later, with like a 0.1% chance. And then like Anthony Davis leaves
Yeah.
the Pelicans, they get Zion number one, and then now Cooper Flat is just so crazy, dude. Like,
So the thing with this, after watching that draft lottery, my thoughts and my opinions have changed about the D Rose year because I've always said this. I think I've said it to you too, where I believe that the D Rose pick was completely out of pure luck and chance. Like I saw this stat and I do visually remember it. The Bulls had what, like a 2.6% chance at the number one pick, and similar to the Mavericks, like they just barely missed the playoffs that year, I think,
yeah,
and they ended up getting the number one pick. And for years there, I was like, that's an example of just no rig, pure luck of getting a team, whatever, however they finish, getting the number one pick. And now my opinion has changed since
yeah,
this draft lottery because now it shows even back then there was clear rigging going on.
yeah. I mean, it just couples with the Luca thing, like.
Yeah,
Luka's traded to the biggest market. Let's face it, like the Lakers are the biggest, next to maybe the Celtics and the Knicks,
yeah.
maybe the
The
Warriors. They're the
GM did
biggest
his
market.
thing.
And they trade him, and it's like, okay, if you do this, then we'll give you this. I don't know. I can't like we can't prove it for sure, but I'm just saying there's a
The
lot of
NBA will never come clean on it.
uh, some things, man.
Yeah.
You know what though? It makes for good TV and like and storylines and stuff. So they know how to do that. You know what I was gonna say? Hey, you know what they're gonna do? I don't know when this is coming out, but I wouldn't be surprised. They're not gonna probably do this, but I wouldn't be surprised if they announce an MVP right before Game 7 of the Thunder and Nuggets, and then
I saw a tweet about that.
yeah,
And I was like, that would be so cold for them to do that. And then the
yeah.
other one just like balls out.
Oh, dude, they're gonna say Shea wins it, and then Jokic is gonna come and have a 50 point, 20 rebound, 10 assists plus triple double. Imagine though, they would do something like that. I feel like, dude,
Yeah,
like
knowing the NBA now, yeah, they do that. They'd have like freaking Jesser come on and be like, SGA, you got
yeah,
the MVP.
some influencer. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's interesting how they be doing some things now, but I'm telling you, they live televise it, man, and we'll believe it. Actually, we probably still won't believe it, but at least they'll make it better.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So the top three picks, they were Dallas,
Yeah.
who was the San
Spurs.
Antonio,
How
which
does San Antonio keep doing this, man?
I have no freaking clue. And there's talks about the Spurs shopping that number two pick for Giannis.
Yeah, dude, imagine Fox and Giannis and Wemby, dude.
My gosh, man.
Fox, dude. You know what? You know what's been bugging me though, and I'm sure for you, man. You're rocking King of Kings.
Yeah,
Dude, like, okay, Fox is about to be in a great situation in San
yeah.
Antonio. And then, dude, Tyrese Halliburton is like the most clutch player of all time, it seems like, dude.
It's
Like,
looking like that. Yeah, he's balling right now.
do you wish you could have gone back and maybe traded Fox instead of Halliburton?
Yes, I've had that conversation.
Yeah. At this point, dude, it's because it's like he knows what he's doing. Like he's a playoff performer, you know?
Yeah, and look at it like this. At the time of the trade, Halliburton, I think, was only in his second year. Fox was already, I think, at the start of his second contract.
Mm-hmm.
So you rather trade a player, keep a young player like Halliburton rather than Fox.
Yeah. And it's tough too, because I just remember so much about Halliburton saying that he wanted to be here.
Exactly.
And when a guy says that about Sacramento, dude,
The
like
dude was shedding tears, man. He
you better
didn't
hold
want
on
to
to that guy.
leave.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you. And so now the thing, and then now of course they end up with nobody. They don't have
Yeah.
either of them, and nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it. Like yeah, they got DeRozan and Levine, and they became the Bulls of the West. And so those are good players. They're just not.
We need a young we need a young star again. And I don't know if we're gonna get that in the draft or free agency. Yeah.
In the King, but see, I would want the Kings to do that when they can still get assets for like DeRozan and Levine and these guys. Even Sabonis, nobody's off the table. Like, dude, even Sabonis, man, like as great as he is. And but the thing is, they would have to do a full rebuild. They would have to be okay with like embracing the suck, I guess, for like 3 to 4 years, right? So they would
Yeah.
have to do that, but then they would have
Hopefully
to,
not another 16.
and they haven't done that. They haven't done that. They almost like sell themselves short just to keep like a relevant product on the court, but that product, if you're not good enough to win a championship and not
Yeah.
good enough and not bad enough to tank, then like what are you, dude?
And
You
I
can't
feel
do
that's
that.
Vivek's mindset. He's like always trying to keep with relevancy in the league, and it's not paying off. Like what you say, OKC. I'm trying to think of some other teams that kind of sucked. Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
Great example of them right there.
yeah. And then back in the day too, I mean, I know like Philadelphia, and they're in the middle of their kind of weird phase rebuild. I don't know what they're doing right now.
I don't
Injuries.
know what to call it
They
either.
were the ones, they fully embraced the tank,
They
and then
did,
they
yeah.
rebuilt, and they got good enough to, make somewhat of a deep playoff run when you
Yeah.
had Butler and Embiid and all those guys. And so sometimes it doesn't always work out, but at least you give yourself that chance. And so
Yeah.
I haven't felt that any of these Kings teams like have a chance to really do anything. And that's a tough place to be. I would
Yeah.
rather not be in that place. I'd rather just gut it and just completely start over. But they haven't drafted well. OKC drafts well and they trade well and they recoup all their assets.
Yeah.
And the Kings have never proved that they could do that, dude. Like you traded Halliburton and Fox, and what you got, you didn't get anything for it really. Besides some good years from Sabonis, he's good. I have no problem with him. But it's like just see what they're doing now, and it's like, oh, what is Sacramento? Classic Sacramento.
Classic Sacramento, yeah. Did I ever tell you during the Sacramento whole Seattle saga, if the Kings would have left, like I'm a diehard basketball fan, NBA fan, I still would have watched the NBA. My fandom, I would have not been a Warriors fan, a Clippers fan, heck no to being a Laker fan.
Yeah,
I would have been a Portland Trail Blazers fan.
yeah, yeah. The respect, because I know you always like Dame. So yeah, these injuries, man. I know Dame is a little bit like, past his prime, but that Tatum one legitimately made me sad, man. That was
Me
sad.
too, bro.
He's
When I saw
27.
that, yeah, I
He's
saw that
27.
injury.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
gonna say when I saw that injury, like we've watched the NBA for so long, we know what an ACL injury is. We know what a torn Achilles injury looks like. I knew exactly what it was when it happened.
yeah.
It was heartbreaking.
Yeah, the thing that's tough too, like I bet, dude, that dude's probably already been on the phone with our boy KD, man. Because, man, we joke a lot about KD, and you like to joke about him with the weed and stuff, but like
Yeah.
he's really like the only one that got injured in his prime with an Achilles and came back arguably a better player than he was before.
Yeah.
So but the difference with him was he basically got like a full year and a half off because he was injured in 2019 finals. 2020 season went long with the COVID. He was out with that. Then he
Yeah.
came back for the beginning of that 2021 season, which started in December. So he took a long time off. I'm sure that he probably already talked to Tatum and like, hey, this is what you got to do to come back from this because
Yeah.
Tatum's so young.
Yeah. I think he's only what, 24,
No,
25?
27. Yeah, he's
Oh,
27. He's
27? I
like
thought he
right
was
in
younger.
yeah, like right at the start or middle of his prime. The Celtics played at the Kings in March, and Sabonis closed out. It wasn't like
I remember that. Yes.
so Tatum came down on his ankle or on Sabonis's foot and really twisted that right ankle pretty bad.
Yep, I
He only
remember that.
missed one game and came back. So part of me wonders if like he was overcompensating for that ankle and
That's what,
eventually,
yeah. No, I said a tweet about this, and like my knowledge of it, like I said earlier, I could tell like he's been playing on a bum ankle for so long. Like when you're playing so much like that, your other muscle groups will start to kick in. And I think that's what triggered the Achilles. Like his Achilles was trying to work so much harder to
yeah.
cancel out the effects of the ankle, where the Achilles just gave out.
Yep. I think that's part of it. And two, like Tatum, dude, he's been like having deep postseason runs for like every season of his career since he entered the league. There's only one time I think they went out in the first round in 2021 to the Nets. Outside of that, he's second round or further every single year. And plus, he just, I mean, he didn't play much in the Olympics, but he went over there with the team. So he really hasn't had a break. It's true. I mean, he sat on the bench a lot. I feel like he got did dirty. That's why I was like, dude, he's going to
I
go on
love
an
how you tried
eventually.
to keep it nice right there.
No, it was. I mean, he sat out. Yeah, dude, I just feel bad for Tatum, dude. And like, we'll see, man. We'll see. The Celtics, that's an expensive team that they got. So I don't know if they can keep that team together much longer if they're not going to be like right in
Yeah.
the mix to compete. And without Tatum, it seems like they wouldn't be, but we'll still see.
Yeah. What do you think of Jalen Brown possibly moving on from the Celtics?
I mean, they got. I wouldn't get rid of him. I mean, I could see them holding on to like or eventually trying to package like Porzingis, maybe like Al Horford retires. Drew Holiday, they love Drew, but maybe because he gets paid a lot. Also, they
Yeah.
got to hold on to Brown, Derek White. Man, I'm probably there's some other guys. Pritchard, Brown. You got to hold on to Brown. Like they have him under a $300 million contract. He's one of the
Yeah, I forgot about that large contract.
him and Tatum are both $300+ million contracts. So yeah, I don't think they can move on from Brown. Like, obviously you saw, I don't know, by the time this comes out, they might be eliminated, but that game five, they're still a deep team. They're able to pull that out against the Knicks because they have a deep team, but winning a championship without Tatum is a tough
That'll
ask.
be tough. And they have the experience as well, even without Tatum.
Yeah.
I've been high on Jalen Brown for quite some time, and yeah, it's him and Tatum running it in Boston. But I was giving it thought a few days ago. I think a team that would be a perfect fit for him if he was to leave Boston would be Detroit.
For Brown,
Yeah.
you know who I think could be a good fit for Detroit?
Who?
Devin Booker.
Him and Cade Cunningham in the backcourt?
Yeah, Devin Booker. He's got some Detroit ties. He spent a little bit of his time in high school there. We went to Mississippi. So I don't know, man. Like he's a big Detroit Tigers fan. I don't know if the Suns are going to move on from him. If anybody, they'll move on from our boy KD. But dude, if it gets to that point, Houston, Detroit, those are probably two top markets for a guy like that. But I don't think this. I think the Celtics are going to hold on to Brown. I don't think they're going to do anything drastic.
Yeah, the Celtics are kind of a boring team when it comes to flashy moves.
Yeah, they make the good moves though. That Drew
They
Holiday move
do.
won them the championship.
That is true.
Yeah,
They
yep.
don't have to always be flashy with the moves.
They needed one more additional piece. So they didn't need to go star hunting. Good for them, dude. Like they had, I mean, imagine or remember back to all those years where they were talking about how Brown and Tatum can't coexist and they need to go trade for Kevin Durant or Kevin Love or
Yeah,
one of these guys, Anthony Davis. And they never did it, dude. They never did it. They held on and they knew they could get it done. And they did last year.
yeah. No, you make a great point there. I feel with other teams, maybe smaller markets, heck, even my Kings, they can learn from teams like that where you don't have to always go for the home run because you might strike out. Heck, the Kings have stricken out many times.
Hold on to your guys. I think that's the message. Like, hold on to, stop trading away your homegrown guys that, especially that they want to be with the franchise. Like, that
Exactly.
Halliburton thing, dude, we're not going to let them live that down
No.
because that's like such a bad move, man.
Yep. Monty McNair made that move, and then just a few years later, he was out.
I know. And there's so much turnover, dude. Like, they don't have anything consistent. Like they need to keep the coach, keep the, something. Like, build. They should hire some good assistant coaches, man. You got Taylor Jenkins out there, Sam Cassell maybe on the market.
They
Heck,
did just
Mike
hire
Malone. No, just kidding. Mike's not
they did
coming.
just hire Mike Woodson to be the lead assistant for Doug Christie.
That's good. He's a good one. Do you remember
Yeah.
that meme with Mike Woodson though? Do you ever see that one where his mouth's like wide open and he's like, I think he was when coaching Carmelo or something like that. Yeah, he's
Was
got some
it
funny memes.
was it maybe the game where Melo just fainted in mid game? Do you remember that?
No,
He was just lying there and the players are just like playing around him and the announcers are like thinking he's playing possum, but the dude literally just passed out mid game.
that's crazy, dude. The
Yeah.
Knicks though, we could have a Knicks in the NBA Finals. That's crazy.
That would be awesome. I would love to see the Knicks in the finals again. It's been since 1999 that they've been in the finals.
Yeah, eighth seed in '99.
That's right. That was the lockout year, right?
Yep,
Where
right
they
after.
only played, I think, 50 games.
Yep. It was a young Tim Duncan and David Robinson
Yeah.
in the San Antonio that beat them 4 games to 1.
Yeah. That shows you just how for many years after Jordan, just how weak the Eastern Conference was.
Like they're saying, if Jordan, the thing, if he would have came back that year, you have a lockout shortened season, so he gets more rest. He
Yeah.
did cut his finger with a cigar thing and cigar cutter, so
Oh
like he
man.
would have had a hurt finger. But I'm like, dude, if the eighth seed Knicks made it, dude, maybe they could have made it.
I did hear, I don't know if it's true, but I did hear a Jordan rumor where he said that if the lockout might have ended earlier, like if it was a longer season, maybe 66 games or 70 games, he was considering maybe returning for that season.
If it was longer, he would have returned.
Yeah,
Interesting. You see, he's going to be a special contributor to NBC's coverage.
I saw that. I was excited.
That's going to be great, dude. All I need him to do is get up on that camera and say, "These guys aren't playing hard.
Oh my
What are these
gosh.
kids doing?"
All of his hot takes will be
Everyone,
exactly that.
everyone is going to go viral. Every time he says
Yeah.
something about anybody, dude, it's going to like take off.
How many
Just
times do you think his crying meme is going to come up?
bro, he gonna fire whoever puts that up. Not gonna allow it, dude. He's not
Oh
gonna
my
allow it.
gosh, yeah. They'll have to get a new one.
NBC, dude, because he was real tight with that Ahmad Rashad back in the day.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if he's got like some type of stake in NBC or something that he would come back for this, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, NBC, dude, if eventually they should get the NBA Finals if Michael Jordan's going to be on the coverage, dude. Like,
Oh,
yes, people are
I
going to be
love
like,
that.
ESPN doesn't need this. Give it to NBC.
Yeah.
I
Heck,
wonder when MJ's going to come on, like only a few times a year or like what he's going to do, you know?
yeah, maybe this is a ploy to get the Wizards more national TV
Oh
games.
my gosh. I feel bad, man, dude, because like 4, 5, and 6 in the draft lottery goes to Charlotte, and
Exactly.
then the Wizards are 6. I forget who is 5. Another one of those teams that had like a
Utah was 5.
Utah. Yeah. Another one of those teams that was like they're the three worst teams. And
Yeah,
like the league doesn't I mean, I don't know if you should reward that, but they need the most help. Like Dallas doesn't
they
need
do.
Cooper
Yeah.
Flag. Utah needs Cooper Flag, you know?
Yeah. And the whole thing, like, I'm very visual with what I see. And, like, I was trying to, well, of course it's going to happen unless if something miraculous happens, like a Anthony Bennett like moment. But I can't picture Cooper Flag in a Dallas Mavericks uniform.
Yeah.
I saw a Photoshop of it on Twitter the other day, and I'm like, this looks off.
Yeah. You know, I want to ask you this to make here we go.
All right.
Let's do a segment. Bold prediction. Bold Burley prediction.
All right. I'll clip that.
All right. So here's what it's going to be. But when we're having this conversation next year,
All
are
right.
the three worst teams by record going to be Charlotte, the Wizards, and the Jazz yet again?
Charlotte, Wizards, and Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
I put my money on it. Yeah.
That's the thing, dude. So like you're supposed to have the draft lottery like make these teams get better. They're
Yeah.
probably going to be the worst three teams in the league again because they're not. I mean, you could get. I'm not saying you could get somebody good from 4 through 6, but it's like why don't one of those teams have the number one pick? They need the most, right?
Yeah. And
It's crazy.
did you see the stat number for how many players declared for this year's draft? The lowest it's been in years.
Because they didn't want to go to Charlotte, the Wizards, or the Jazz, and then they
The
didn't declare.
NIL
And then
money.
now, yeah, NIL, and now look at the teams that are up there. They
Yeah.
probably wish they could go to the Spurs or the yeah. There's a lot of that NIL is going to change a lot because
Yeah.
I mean you're not going to get paid NBA money, but you can get paid millions of dollars for just staying in college.
That's why there was all those rumblings about Cooper Flag if he was going to declare or not because along with the NIL money, he's getting sponsorships.
He's got a New Balance shoe deal.
I
I
saw
thought he
him
was
on
going
that
to.
commercial.
Yeah, yep, on there with Kawhi. Kawhi, man, what a guy. Have you ever watched Kevin Hart's reaction to that on
Yes,
YouTube?
it's hilarious.
That's one of the best. That video has 18 million views, and it's one of the
Yeah.
best
Heck, I
videos.
might watch it tonight.
Yeah, you should. You should. That's a great video to go back on every now and then.
And also in that same video, he reacts to Ennis Cantor.
Yes. Ennis Cantor and Michael Beasley. Lakers Michael Beasley.
Lakers,
And
man, the guy
Cantor.
was high on something in that interview.
That was pre-Turkey cancer or Cantor right there, dude. Before he got in all that. um, that 2019 season was pretty good, man. Toronto winning the championship, Golden State going for a three-peat. This is one thing I wish, like, there's a lot more parity in the league today in terms of who's winning. But, I like when there's like a dynastic team and somebody has to finally beat them. It just, it makes it seem more like that's why I really thought Boston was going to be that team. I'm like, dude, they're the best roster in the league. They have the best all-around team. And of course, like one of their main guy gets injured. And I really thought they're going to repeat, and
I had that as my prediction too.
especially after they ran through the playoffs last year too. They only lost what, like 3 games. So
I think 3 or 4.
Indiana right now is 4-1, 4-1. So is Minnesota, dude. What if we got an Indy Minnesota? I feel like the NBA would punch the wall, dude. NBA is gonna punch the wall if it's like OKC and
They're
Indiana.
already
Oh,
punching the
they're gonna punch.
wall.
Yeah, yeah, dude. They're gonna, dude. If the Knicks don't make it and it's Indiana, that wall, you better watch out. They're gonna pull a Maury Stoudemire.
Yep. Yeah, he punched a fire hydrant.
What is that other one too with what was it, like Rockets, Clippers, locker room, and the whole thing about the police presence?
Yeah, the whole Chris Paul and James Harden thing going at it in the locker room.
The inside the NBA crew talking. Shaq lost it when they were talking about police presence. A lot of clips, everybody out there, go look up these clips. Go watch Kevin Hart reacting.
Exactly.
Go watch police presence. Go watch some Mo Spates highlights just because. Sacramento Kings Mo Spates highlights. That's the assignment.
Okay, okay. I don't know how much of that you're gonna find.
Probably like one grainy video recorded on somebody's like webcam or something.
An old Motorola Razr phone that are like this
Yeah,
big.
yeah, it's like one play of him hitting a mid-range jump shot. What's an underrated highlight is Quincy AC highlights, dude.
Yeah, dude, that Quincy AC, I love how ferocious he was. He didn't have all talent and all the skill in the world, but
Yep,
he had that fire. He had that beast in him.
yep. He had that beast, man. That's an underrated highlight package. Quincy AC career highlights. Most of it is like rebounds and dunks and blocks.
I would go so far to say Quincy AC is probably the best Quincy to play in the most recent NBA. I can
Yeah.
only think of 3 Quincy's. Quincy Doobie, Quincy
Yep.
AC, and Quincy Pondexter.
Wasn't there a Quincy Miller? Wasn't he like on Denver or something for a while?
I think you're right. No, you are right. Quincy Miller played with Denver, and then he had a very short stint with the King.
Really, say, man, this is some high level basketball knowledge right here, man.
Yeah,
High level.
you're unlocking some stuff, bro.
What is your most underrated player highlight package on YouTube from a underrated guy?
So I don't know if a large amount of people would classify him as an underrated underdog player, but Baron Davis, he has some highlights in his days.
He was good. He had that dunk in that first round against Dallas with the We Believe Warriors. He was good.
Yeah,
Who's another one? I'm thinking like Andrea Bargnani. I'm thinking like Andre Karolinko, you know, AK-47. Maybe like a Brooklyn or Utah Jazz Darren Williams.
I love Darren Williams. Know who else loved Darren Williams? I don't know why, but my brother Jack. Yeah, he'd always be like, know who my favorite player is number 8 on the Utah Jazz.
That's so good. He was good, man. He was good for a while there. Got paid a lot of money too.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy?
And then
Hey,
even him on the Brooklyn Nets was good.
I I can't believe you didn't bring up your guy, man, for underrated highlight package. You know who I'm talking about?
Who?
Your guy, Mo Williams. You forgot about your guy.
I forgot about my guy, Mo
What was your
Will.
take that you said on that live stream years ago? You would take Mo Williams
So I
over.
think we were all talking about like LeBron's best teammate.
Yeah,
Everybody was saying Kyrie, and then I wanted to be like the deep guy. So like I went into the deep mindset, and I was like, let me throw out Mo Will.
that's crazy. Dude, think about that team, bro. Mo Williams, Daniel Gibson, Delonte West, Adrunas Ilgauskas,
Ricky Davis. No, he wasn't on that team.
Wally Zerbiak. Man, who is that other guy?
The
Oh,
guy
man,
that kind of looks like me. Do you know the guy I'm talking about? The guy that I've always said I look like him?
what, Delonte West?
No, what was his name? He was like a European guy. His name was like Sasha Pavlovich or something.
Pavlovich, yes,
Don't you
yes.
think I can, if
Dude,
I
dude,
go
we had two,
shaved?
you did. We had two Sashas in the NBA at that time.
Yeah, Sasha
Vucevic,
Vucevic and
yeah,
that guy from the Cavs. I've
Pavlovich.
always thought that I look like him when I'm clean shaved.
What a throwback. Oh, they also had Varejao. Man, dude, how did that team go to the NBA Finals? Boy,
That's probably the easiest championship in Spurs history.
basically just had to stop one guy. And then, man, do you think
Yeah,
if Indiana gets there though, is this Indiana team right now better than that Cavs team?
I would say yes, because the thing with the Cavs back then, all they had like star level talent was LeBron. Everybody else was your typical average Joe, above average NBA players. With this year's Pacers,
Yeah,
now I'm going on a roll. With
yeah.
this year's Pacers, you have Tyrese Halliburton, you got Miles Turner, you got who else?
Nemhard is good. Matherin is good.
I was trying to think of their first names, but yeah, Neymar, Mathurin, and then man, I'm trying to think of some other names. McConnell,
He's something. Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin, yeah. I've talked about him quite a few times on my pod.
Yeah. There's some pretty, I mean, he spells it OBI, but there's some good two-letter. Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell. They got some good two-letter players. Yeah. You should do that one episode. Two-letter players. Best two-letter players
Best
in
two,
NBA history. Who's the best two-letter player in NBA history besides JJ Hickson, obviously? Man, dude, like
man.
this would be good. This would be the perfect time to like have
JJ Redick,
JJ Redick. Yeah, that's right. I feel like there's got to be somebody. AC Green,
AC Green. I remember AC Green. Yeah.
original Iron Man.
Yep.
Mikal Bridges is coming for that record, man.
Do you think he's going to get it?
I don't know. AC Green played like 20 years, like 18 years in a row and like never missed a game. He's got a good do you ever watch his man, it was like a 30 for 30 short on a Iron Virgin by AC Green. narrated by Will Ferrell, dude, about him how he
I do
stayed
remember
faithful.
that.
It was good. It motivated me as a Christian man. I was like, dude, I love this. He stayed faithful and he was making
Amen.
songs about abstinence with David Robinson. It was good. It was good. He was
Yeah.
in LA. He said when anybody like these women would come to his door in his hotel, he would start praying in Jesus' name and telling them to go away and stuff. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, good for this guy. Yeah.
Yeah. David Robinson was a real one.
Yeah. David Robinson was legit too. He was good. Like these are real, like, I mean, as much as we can tell, we don't know for sure, but real Christian Tim Tebow, like these are real guys put their faith out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Tim Tebow, David Robinson. Yeah. AC. And just recently, I think he should have stayed in the league because I remember I've watched his highlights a little bit and I think he could have
Yeah.
stayed in the league.
Two letter, bro.
Two
Yeah.
letter, AJ Griffin. I think
Yeah.
he should have stayed in the league.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing now. I think he was going to do like ministry full time. But man, if
I
that's
was
where he
shocked when
was
I
feeling
heard
called,
that. Yeah. I'm like,
no,
bro,
that's
you can
pretty
do
big.
both.
I know. But hey, man, if that's where he was feeling called, like
You
that's
don't want
what
to
he
disturb God's calling on someone.
that's what he had to lay at the altar, then he did, and he was faithful to the call. So that's good. And yeah, he would always post like CHH stuff on his TikTok and stuff like that. Alex Jean and Caleb Gordon and all that.
I
You
love
gotta get
Caleb
Caleb
Gordon.
Gordon. Need him on the podcast, dude.
Heck yeah, bro.
He'd be like, "Oh, I'm out here in Orlando. I love my Magic."
Know who I'm trying to get on the pod is Deuce Mason. Oh,
Good guy, man. I had a conversation with him back in the day too when I was in school. He helped me out with some stuff. Yeah, he's good. He's told me about like the sports broadcasting industry and stuff. Yeah.
heck yeah.
Yeah, cool guy.
I met him a few years ago at one of the Kings Fan Fest. And yeah, in person, just he seems like a total legit, genuine person who's just like any of us, loves the game, gets paid to talk about it.
Yep. You getting on that new Miles Minnick and Lecrae? It's all about the California, man.
Heck yeah, man. I've been seeing that all over my socials.
Yep, yep. He was out at All-Star Weekend for doing that, and then that's some good music right there, dude. He mentioned Sacramento in one of his songs if you haven't listened to it yet.
I'm gonna go and listen to that. Is the whole album out now or just a
Yeah.
few songs?
No, the whole thing. It's an EP, so it's like 7 songs or something.
Okay.
But there's one that they got Eddie as a feature on it. And
Heck yeah, let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. And he mentioned Sacramento and yeah, it's pretty cool.
How he got kicked out of Golden One Center.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Miles, what a journey.
Yeah,
Yep.
bro.
Hey man, Lecrae could have played basketball, man. That guy was tall, remember that?
Dude is tall. Yeah.
Got to get Lecrae on this podcast.
My
Yep.
gosh. Those are dream guests right there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask who your ultimate dream guest would be,
Okay.
besides an NBA player.
So I've been giving it thought and dream guests. Like I also have to think kind of realistically here.
Right.
I can't be like, man, I'm gonna hit up Michael Jordan, get him on the pod.
That'd be incredible, dude.
Man, I'm like between the two, who's more realistic? Getting Kenny Smith or getting Michael Jordan? Probably Kenny Smith more realistic.
Yeah. I wondered like what it would take to even like contact Michael Jordan or some like one of his representatives.
Yeah,
Or like if they
probably.
get calls from random people and they're like, all right, whatever. And just how that works. Like, what do you think Michael Jordan does every day, dude, besides play golf? Like, do you think he like has a bunch of goats in
Pooping on his golden toilet, golden dumps.
Chicago? He just has like that $20 million house like right in the middle of downtown.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. They have a gate, and then like on the
Yeah,
gate says 23.
yeah. What a legend, dude. That's how you know he's the GOAT because he gets an NBC gig and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Michael Jordan's going to be on." If that
Yeah,
was
they're like,
LeBron, people
whoa.
would be like, "Oh, okay, well, that's cool." It's just a different level. Like a lot of it with him too is marketing. Like he has a really good marketing team behind him and he knows how to stay mysterious.
He
And it
stayed
just like
mysterious for years. Like,
when you think of Jordan, like you just think of winning right away,
yeah,
you know?
never lost the finals.
Never even
Six
went
and
to game
zero.
seven. No game seven. That's probably the craziest part to me. Like there's two
That's
stats.
right. No game
The 6-0
sevens.
and then well, I guess three. So like the 6-0, the never going to game seven in the finals, and then never losing three games in a row, I think, during those finals runs. Like ever. Like he lost back to back, but not three games in a row for like 8 years. Which is like everybody goes on a 3 game losing streak at some point, and he didn't.
That shows just his dominance for the style of play back then.
He did. He'd be putting up like 45 a night in today's NBA.
45, 50. Heck, even with all the offense that's allowed right now, he'd probably be going for like 80 points a night.
80. Yeah. I
Man,
mean,
we're just blowing smoke right here.
no, dude, this is good. This is extra. We call this extra time or
Extras,
garbage time.
garbage time. Yeah,
If any of y'all out there stayed until garbage time, appreciate it.
yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, me too. Man, I'm like, I love talking this kind of stuff. I'm like getting lost in how long we've been on, but
I know, I know. Yeah, you got to. I mean, this big part of this show is throwback NBA basketball. So you know, if people aren't ready, to talk about Quincy Pondexter, this may not be the show for you. You got to know about it, right?
exactly, yeah.
Or, hey, there was a time in NBA history that they thought Yusuf Nurkic was going to be better than Nikola Jokic. You know, there was a time.
Yeah. All right. So I saw this on my Twitter earlier today, and I want to get your take on it. It was one of those start bench cuts.
Okay.
So Sacramento Kings Classic Edition.
Oh,
Okay. So these are the three players: Rajon Rondo, Beno Udrih, and Darren Collison. Out of those three, who are you starting, benching, and cutting?
I mean, I'm going to take Reggie Theus over all of them. So just the Kings version of that player. Oh, I mean, Rondo, he was decent on the Kings. He wasn't Celtics Rondo.
No. And he only spent 1 year with us.
Yeah, it was very limited. Collison, I remember he was pretty good. I like, you know what? Give me Bano. Let me start Bano,
Okay.
and then because he's a legend. You know what? I'm gonna do an untraditional here. I'm gonna go Bano, then I'm gonna go Darren Collison, then I'm gonna go Rondo.
Ooh, you're cutting Rondo?
Rondo, man. I need Lakers Rondo, the one that helped them win a championship. I don't need Kings Rondo.
See, I had it like this. I had start Collison, bench Rondo, and then I
I'll
was like, it hurts to say this, but cut Bano.
cut Bano Drano, man. How could we do this?
Yeah,
I just remember Grant Napier, Bano Drano calls.
yeah. Well, this was Josh Carson. I appreciate you coming on. Any last minute encouragement you want to give the viewers?
Yeah, my encouragement would be even if Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn are picked ahead of you, that doesn't mean you like that tie-in?
I love it.
That doesn't mean that, the Lord's plan for your life is over. All right. It's all
Amen.
about right situation. So if you can get yourself to Golden State, and in our minds, that's the Golden Streets, that's heaven.
The pearly
You're gonna
gates right
that's the
there.
right place. And you can't, but the thing is, let me rephrase that. You can't get yourself there. It's only through the shed blood of Jesus that you get
Amen.
there.
Amen.
So I'd say, you know what, man, everybody out there have a blessed day. Go look up some Quincy AC highlights if you need motivation. If you need that, don't take 5 o'clock or what is it, 5 hour energy. Go look up
Yeah.
Quincy AC highlights.
That'll get you pumped up. Heck, I may
Read your
even put
word,
that in the description.
read some Philippians 4 and some Quincy AC highlights, and that's all you need right there.
That's your pre workout.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, stay up with them threes up. Love, joy, peace. See ya.